Did you know that a staggering 50% of employees say their boss is the reason they leave their job? That's right, management can make or break a team. But here's the real kicker. Only 10% of managers have the skills needed to actually lead effectively. So, what's the difference between someone who's managing and someone who's truly leading? In this video, we're going to dive into the key distinctions between managers and leaders, starting with the fact that a manager's job is to maintain, but a leader's job is to transform. If you've ever wondered why some companies seem to thrive while others struggle, the answer might be simpler than you think. Leadership. We'll explore why managers focus on short-term results, while leaders are focused on long-term success. We'll look at how the best leaders turn failure into success and how they inspire their teams to greatness. Plus, we'll reveal surprising statistics and insights you may not have known about what it really means to be a leader. Stick around. You won't want to miss the strategies that can change your approach to leadership forever. Chapter 1. The visionary versus the taskmaster. Understanding the core difference. When we think about managers, the image that comes to mind is often someone who is organized, focused on processes, and ensures tasks are completed on time. Leaders, on the other hand, are often viewed as those who inspire, innovate, and think big. The key difference starts with mindset. Managers focus on ensuring that daily operations run smoothly, while leaders are more concerned with inspiring their teams to reach a greater vision. According to leadership expert Simon Sinek, leadership is not about being in charge. It's about taking care of those in your charge. This highlights that leaders often see their role as creating a space where their team can thrive and push boundaries. A manager's role, however, is more about maintaining consistency and meeting short-term goals. Research by Gallup found that only 32% of employees in the US are engaged at work, but the key to increasing engagement lies in leadership. Leaders who focus on connecting with their teams and articulating a shared vision can motivate employees to go beyond what's required. Visionary leaders constantly challenge the status quo. For example, Elon Musk has famously said, "When something is important enough, you do it even if the odds are not in your favor." This kind of mindset is exactly what sets leaders apart from managers. Leaders are not just concerned with today's tasks, but with the big picture. Their focus is on where the team is headed and how they can inspire others to come along for the ride. Chapter 2. Control versus empowerment. Shaping the future of your team. Managers thrive on control. They tend to monitor, direct, and ensure that everything is going according to plan. The problem with this approach is that it can stifle creativity. In contrast, leaders don't just manage tasks, they empower others to take ownership. Empowerment is one of the strongest drivers of motivation and innovation. Leaders know that trust is key. They believe in their team's abilities, delegate authority, and give people the space to try new things. A study from Gallup shows that employees who feel they have the freedom to make decisions at work are 20% more likely to be engaged. Think about Steve Jobs. He didn't micromanage, he pushed his team to think differently, but he trusted them to execute their ideas. He famously said, "Innovation is saying no to 1,000 things." In other words, leadership is about empowering others to make bold choices that move the company forward. Managers might worry about things going off track, but leaders see mistakes as opportunities for growth. In fact, leaders often encourage risk-taking because they know failure is a stepping stone to success. This approach builds a culture of confidence and independence, allowing the team to be more agile and responsive to change. According to leadership scholar Daniel Goleman, the most effective leaders are those who create an environment where others feel safe to take risks. By empowering your team, you're giving them the tools they need to develop their skills and contribute meaningfully to the organization's success. If you're enjoying this content, make sure to subscribe and hit the bell icon so you never miss a leadership tip. Chapter 3. The Manager's Toolbox. Efficiency versus the Leader's Toolkit. Growth managers are typically focused on maximizing efficiency. They use processes, checklists, and guidelines to ensure that work gets done. This often leads to measurable outcomes, but the focus is on completing tasks quickly rather than nurturing growth. Leaders, in contrast, are committed to long-term development. They invest in their teams and foster a growth-oriented mindset. Leaders understand that in order to drive change, you must first invest in people, helping them grow professionally and personally. It's not just about completing tasks, it's about developing skills that will lead to greater innovation and success in the future. Jim Collins, in his book Good to Great, notes that Level 5 leaders are those who blend personal humility with intense professional will. These types of leaders focus on growth, not just for themselves but for everyone around them. They are deeply committed to helping others reach their potential, not just checking off tasks. This focus on growth has real-world benefits. For instance, studies show that companies with a culture of continuous learning see 37% higher employee productivity and 34% higher employee retention. It's clear that leaders who prioritize growth build stronger teams and more successful businesses. One unique strategy leaders use to promote growth is coaching. Unlike managers who might give direct orders, leaders often take on a coaching role, guiding employees through challenges and encouraging their personal and professional development. This approach fosters a deeper connection between the leader and their team, leading to better outcomes. Managers may focus on hitting short-term performance targets, but leaders know that success is measured in sustainable growth over time. This means creating an environment where employees are encouraged to expand their skill sets, take on new challenges, and keep evolving. Growth-focused leaders ensure that their team is always learning, adapting, and ready to tackle future challenges. If you want more leadership insights like this, don't forget to subscribe and hit the notification bell. Chapter 4. Short-term wins versus long-term legacies. Playing the long game. Managers often focus on achieving short-term wins. They set clear, measurable goals with a tight timeline. This results in quick fixes and immediate results. For example, hitting monthly sales targets or completing a project on time. However, while these accomplishments are important, they don't always lead to sustainable success. Leaders, in contrast, think beyond the next quarter. They focus on building a legacy that lasts. Leadership expert John C. Maxwell says, "A leader is one who knows the way, goes the way, and shows the way." Leaders aim to create lasting impact, not just solve problems in the moment. They are forward-thinking and invest in long-term strategies that lead to a deeper transformation. Consider Amazon founder Jeff Bezos. His goal was never just to be the top e-commerce company, but to build an organization that would continually innovate and shape industries for years to come. Bezos has always emphasized that success isn't about immediate gratification but about creating something that will stand the test of time. According to research by the Harvard Business Review, companies that prioritize long-term growth see 47% higher return on investment, ROI, compared to companies that chase short-term goals. Leaders who focus on creating value over time not only build stronger organizations but also foster a culture of loyalty and engagement. Employees want to be part of something bigger, and leaders who think long-term provide that sense of purpose. By thinking about the future, leaders are better prepared to navigate challenges that arise. They build resilience into their teams by emphasizing continuous learning, innovation, and adapting to changing circumstances. This ability to look ahead helps them make decisions that may not pay off immediately, but will ultimately lead to greater success. Chapter 5. Fear of failure versus fearless innovation. Leading through risk. Managers often see failure as something to avoid at all costs. They prefer to follow proven methods and minimize risk. This cautious approach works for maintaining the status quo, but it doesn't foster innovation. In contrast, leaders embrace failure as a learning opportunity. They understand that without risk, there is no reward. This mindset of fearless innovation is crucial in today's fast-paced world. Research from McKinsey shows that companies with a culture of innovation are 60% more likely to experience revenue growth. Leaders who encourage experimentation create an environment where new ideas can thrive. They understand that failure is part of the process and doesn't define the team's potential. Take Thomas Edison, for example. When he was asked about his many failed attempts to invent the light bulb, he said, "I have not failed. I've just found 10,000 ways that won't work." This attitude towards failure is a hallmark of leadership. Instead of avoiding mistakes, leaders embrace them as part of the journey toward success. Leaders who encourage innovation also empower their teams to step outside their comfort zones. They know that breakthrough ideas often come from taking calculated risks. Google's famous 20% time policy, where employees can work on projects of their choice, is an example of a leader-driven initiative that fosters creativity. Some of Google's most successful products, like Gmail and Google Maps, came from this very practice. By promoting a fearless approach to innovation, leaders inspire their teams to think outside the box. A leader's role is not just to oversee tasks but to encourage bold ideas that can revolutionize industries. This approach makes teams more agile and adaptable, ready to seize opportunities when they arise. Chapter 6. Authority versus influence. The power of leading from the heart. Managers often rely on authority to get things done. They give instructions and expect compliance. This top-down approach works when there's a clear hierarchy and well-defined roles. However, relying solely on authority can lead to disengagement and lack of motivation. People might do the work, but they aren't always invested in the mission. Leaders, on the other hand, rely on influence. They know that true leadership is about inspiring others to follow, not because they have to, but because they want to. This shift from authority to influence is a powerful strategy for building trust and loyalty within a team. Leadership expert Robin Sharma says, "Leadership is not about a title or a designation. It's about impact, influence, and inspiration." In a 2020 study by Gallup, 70% of employees reported that they would be more engaged if their leader focused on building trust. Leaders who lead with influence build meaningful relationships with their teams, creating a culture of mutual respect and open communication. Take Nelson Mandela as an example. He was not a leader because of his position, but because of the way he inspired millions with his commitment to justice and equality. Mandela's ability to influence others through his actions and values, rather than relying solely on his authority, made him one of the most revered leaders in history. Leaders who led from the heart are more likely to foster a collaborative environment. When people trust their leaders, they're more willing to go the extra mile. A study by the Center for Creative Leadership found that leaders who demonstrate empathy are 60% more effective in building strong teams. This emotional connection enables leaders to motivate their team members on a deeper level. In conclusion, authority might get compliance, but influence gets commitment. Leaders who prioritize influence over authority create an environment where their team feels valued, respected, and inspired to contribute to the organization's success. This emotional investment is a key driver of long-term success, as it leads to higher engagement and better overall performance. Don't forget to subscribe and hit the notification bell for more leadership insights that can transform the way you lead.